Good morning, everybody, and happy Wednesday. This is Jason Butt with the UGA Quick Take. Normally on Wednesdays, we do our Wednesday wager. I'm just gonna go ahead and say, Georgia being an 8.5-point favorite right now, I'm not feeling good about it. I'm not feeling good about betting it. I don't think I will. So I think it's just a good idea to probably pass on this week's game. If you're a Georgia fan, just enjoy. Hope for the best. Hope your team gets a win. That's going to be my advice. So instead of going in with the wager and the betting this week, I do want to talk about the College Football Playoff Committee's first reveal of their rankings. Look, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day where these teams are ranked. Georgia not being number one, who cares? It's an arbitrary ranking. It's designed for entertainment purposes. It's not a big deal when it comes from an outside standpoint, however you want to make it. It's literally just for media purposes to get people interested, to get people like me on this platform talking about where Georgia is. And because of that, even with that caveat, I mean, it doesn't matter. It sure is fun as hell to talk about. And what's interesting is how much motivation this may have inadvertently just given Georgia for its game against Tennessee. Obviously, for a while now, Georgia has been the number one team, or for most of the year has been the number one team in the AP and the coaches poll. Tennessee has steadily climbed in the AP poll. This is a 1 versus 2 showdown. Now, what I can't figure out is why Georgia's game against Oregon means less to the committee than Ohio State, whatever they're doing. I guess they're punishing Georgia for having a close game on the road against Missouri. That's really the only thing that makes sense. Look, if they want to put Tennessee number one because of the win over Alabama and because they've blown out everybody on the schedule, I don't care. I'm not concerned or going to worry about Tennessee being number one over Georgia. To me, it's the Ohio State jumping Georgia or being put second ahead of Georgia to start this ranking. If you're Kirby Smart, this is when you're looking for. And what's funny is Kirby Smart will say, "Well, if you need the extra motivation, you shouldn't be playing this level of college football," and that's just something you would say at a podium, because I guarantee you he is behind the scenes. He and his coaching staff are making sure that these guys are have it drilled in their head that this committee just gave them the ultimate slight. Their win over Oregon doesn't matter. Their win over Florida doesn't matter. Every other game that they've played this year, even though they haven't had to go against stiff competition, of the likes of South Carolina, the aforementioned Missouri, which was way closer than it should have been. None of that matters. It doesn't matter in the committee's eyes that this team is 8-0. I still go back to the 49-3 win over Oregon in Atlanta, and it's not far from Athens, and it's really far from Eugene, Oregon. Still technically a neutral site game, to win 49-3 in the opener against the college football playoffs number 8 or the 8th ranked team, with Tennessee having its best win, a 3-point win over number 6 Alabama, and you still put Ohio State number 2. That's where I'm sitting there going, what is this committee doing? And if you're Kirby Smart, if you're just Georgia's coaching staff, you're saying these guys don't think you're any good. It doesn't matter what you did. It doesn't matter you put up 49 points and held Oregon to 3 while Oregon's out there putting up 40, 50 points on everybody else that it's played. Those things, for whatever reason, aren't mattering to this committee, and it goes to show that with some of the criticism you've seen on social media with this unveiling. So if I'm Kirby Smart, I am happy to be number 3 in the initial college football playoff poll, because you're talking about kind of rallying the troops here a little bit and finding that extra layer of motivation in the week of practice. Because it would be one thing if it was Tennessee 1, Georgia 2. I think you could still create that extra juice, if you will, and get your players motivated in that sense. But to be number 3 behind an Ohio State team that just gave up, I think, what was it, 31 points to Penn State. No disrespect intended to Penn State, but they're not on the level of an Oregon team that Georgia's played. They're not on the level of the Alabama team that Tennessee beat. It's just kind of, yes, they played Notre Dame too. Notre Dame's already out of the top 25, not in the college football playoff top 25. I don't know. I don't know where their thinking is on this. It's just, if you're Georgia, you're pretty excited about if you're the coaching staff. I'm sure the players, they feel disrespected. I'm sure they're not actually happy. A lot of them are probably thinking, okay, well, fine. We'll just have to prove it on the field, which that's the other thing going into this week when it comes to motivation. So the College Football Playoff Committee just gave this group motivation. These things really do matter, and I think we've seen a lot of it with Alabama. I'm not a fan of I really wish there was a different term I could use right now. The Nick Saban coined term rat poison. He used it as, rat poison when the media was trying to, or when he would think the media is trying to hype them up and build all this praise that doesn't exist. And he says that's rat poison because the players buy into it and it's not true and this and that and whatever. But then, last year when Alabama beat Georgia in the SEC championship, he said it was the good kind of rat poison and that it was great and they were really happy to get it. And this is that for this team, but also there's a lot of chatter and it's deserved. I'm not trying to take anything away from what Tennessee has done so far, but a lot of hype is on Tennessee. Now I will go back, and here's another reason why I do not want to touch this Georgia-Tennessee game, because truthfully, I really don't have a feel one way or the other. I could see Tennessee winning. I could see Georgia winning. There's no when I bet on games, I want to have a pretty good feeling of what's going to happen. And of course, if it loses, it loses. You can't get emotional and attached. And if you bet, whatever money you put up, you got to be okay with losing it. But one of the things that struck me is so far the money on Tennessee, the sharp money. Really, I just say the total money right now, according to the DraftKings.com sportsbook, 91% is on Tennessee +8. 89% of the total bets are on Tennessee +8. Now, you're not seeing the discrepancy, but you're seeing a lot of confidence in Tennessee. You're seeing a lot of people acting like this Tennessee offense can't be beat. I know our own Brent Rollins did a remarkable breakdown of Tennessee's offense, and one of the things that stood out in the Film Don't Lie breakdown is the fact that, Tennessee's not doing anything that's that difficult. So, it's basically, if you play a certain way of defense, if you play up, they're going to find a way to scheme a guy up. If you're playing back, they're going to scheme a guy underneath. If your alignment is too deep, they're probably going to run the ball. They're doing all these things that really, aren't the craziest, most complex things in the world, and they're getting so much praise for it. Now, if you're Kirby Smart and you're this defensive guru, you're probably in the film room with your other guru, Glenn Schumann. And I say that because he coined Glenn Schumann did he coin Glenn Schumann as a guru? Somebody did back in the day. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Kirby. Somebody said Glenn Schumann was a guru. Anyway, I think it was actually a former player, now that I think about it. I don't think it was Kirby. But when you have those kind of defensive minds, I guarantee you they are harping on the things that Brent's talking about. Look, they're building this Tennessee offense up to be the greatest thing ever, this and that. But, we have our own Brent Rollins. He's showing it's effective because of how the defenses are playing, whether that is a product of just the personnel, the other side's coaching staff. I don't think you're going to see Tennessee be able to move the ball with as much ease as they have so far, partly due to a lot of it due to the Georgia coaching staff on the other end, and of course a lot of it having to do with having really good players. I do think that Tennessee will be able to score points. I don't think it's going to be anything where Georgia completely shuts them down. But if I'm Kirby Smart, I was already talking about telling them, hey, that media or rat poison, I guess, whatever you want to call it, that narrative exists. This is the greatest team of all time. You might as well not show up. And now you've got the college football playoff coming in and saying that Georgia's number 3 behind Ohio State, even with a win, a 49-3 win over number 8 Oregon. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess when Tennessee's been able to, even Tennessee's had some games where they've given up a lot of points. I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what they're thinking. But from a motivation standpoint, this is great for Georgia's coaching staff. I think this is an intangible that could actually work to their benefit if they use it wisely. Will it work? Who knows? Tennessee's a really freaking good team. And like I said, I'm not betting on this game because I could see Tennessee winning. I could see Georgia winning. I have no idea. You're truly gambling if you want to bet on this game. The plus 8.5 just seems way too big. I do think Vegas is trying to bait a lot of people into Tennessee. Maybe they do think Georgia will cover, and they're getting a lot of action, a lot of the money, a lot of the bets and the money going on Tennessee right now. I'm staying away. I got other games to bet on, but all I got to tell you, if I'm Georgia's coaching staff, this motivation is perfect to try and get that team over the hump and into the win column and remaining undefeated in this college football season, which is crazy that we're going into the 9th game already. Time flies. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. Mash that subscribe button. Go to the UGAsports.com dog vent. Subscribe there. Join the best Georgia community in all of the World Wide Web. Thanks so much for tuning in. You have been awesome. I have been Jason Butt, and y'all take care.